Welcome in. Happy opening day, everybody. Different sport. This is the CHGO Bears Podcast presented by PointsBet. Use that code CHGO to get $2,000 in free bets. But it is opening day in Chicago, which is always a special day for at least for the Cubs today. As we discussed briefly yesterday, they are playing the Brewers, who have an indoor stadium and a dome. It's still winter here in Chicago, so they're going to try to play the game in snow.
Brilliant.
Just great job by everybody involved with that.
They play football in snow. You know, they got to get it done.
Yeah.
They got to go out there and make a lot of money.
But the difference is in baseball, they'll delay the game if there's like 3 raindrops.
That's true, too. And that's like golf. You guys play baseball growing up?
Yes, I did.
T-ball.
Yeah. T-ball?
T-ball, that was it?
That was it. And then I went to soccer and then football. But
Love baseball, man. That's got to be a hard – when I was at UW, University of Washington, in Seattle, that's when the Mariners had Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Rodriguez. Remember that team?
Yeah.
It was a very good
Oh,
that was a good baseball team. But Randy Johnson used to come to Washington's indoor facility and pitch. And I'd stand there and just think to myself, I got no chance. Even if I put out a bunt, I am not going to even bunt Randy Johnson, right? Like, I mean, that ball, I should think, like, if someone would rob his house, he was just going to eat baseballs by his stand because, first of all, his arm was halfway down where the ball needed to go, and then it was moving at 100 miles. Like, anyway.
Unfair.
Yeah, those guys are unbelievable.
You had the speed. You had the fact that his arm was just like was it like Stretch Armstrong? That guy, it was like he could reach the ball.
Well, he was 6'11", wasn't he? Was Randy Johnson 6'11"? And he was. I think he was a left-hander.
Yeah.
He was a left-hand. I mean, the ball. What was it? What was the All-Star game?
10, yeah. Wow.
That the guy wouldn't even stand in the box.
John Kruk.
Remember that? And John Kruk. But you know what's funny? When I saw it, because I had saw Randy Johnson live, I had no judgment on John Kruk. I was like, I don't blame you at all. But baseball is a fun. Those guys, those major league guys are good at it, and they're fun to watch, man.
Yeah, it's impressive stuff. So for all the baseball fans out there, it's a good day, and we're I'm excited for baseball too. And I'm probably more excited about the Masters though, to be honest.
Hey, wait, I'm sorry, Adam. The guy John Clark, I think in our comments, mentioned when he killed the bird. Remember that?
Yeah.
When Randy Johnson hit the bird, yeah,
Like
unbelievable.
The probability of that ever happening again, it's like a bird flying in.
Did anybody ever work out what the probability was?
I mean, it's probably never happened again. I mean, I don't think it has. Maybe it has.
The bird just exploded though. It was like
the bird should have known better.
Yeah, honestly.
What are you doing? It is one of the.
What are you doing?
It's like a parent standing over the bird, like you should have known better. You mentioned the Masters, Adam. Like, it's always that time of the year here in Illinois when you're watching them play golf in this sunny, and it just looks amazing there, in Georgia. But the fact that Tiger Woods could play, I mean, I think he's going to try.
Yeah.
And they were about to cut his leg. I mean, the guy's always the star. I was thinking the other day when I was watching their press conferences, no matter who was on the podium, they were asking him all Tiger Woods questions, which they don't seem to mind, even Dustin Johnson, because they know how much money this guy's made all of them,
Well, and Tiger's also changed his even his reputation around the other players.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't always a well-liked figure
No.
around those other players. Now they all stop. Like, if he's at the driving range, they all stop to talk to him, and he'll talk back. He's become way more friendly I think even on the tour, that makes a big difference. Do you remember, speaking of the weather, the year he won a couple years ago, 2019, when he had that amazing run to win the Masters again, it snowed like 3 inches here.
Yeah.
Do you remember that day? It was a Sunday. We're sitting there watching one of the greatest, golfing days you could ever witness, and it's just snowing outside.
And you kept thinking, like, there's no way Tiger's going to finish this. And then I forget what hole it was, but the guy he was playing with put it in the water.
Yes.
And I couldn't believe
16,
it. Yeah. I couldn't. Yeah. And that guy had played, I forget his name now, he had played so good all week. Yep. And the commentators were saying, I remember the commentators saying, he's been too consistent. He won't melt down. I kept thinking to myself, but he's never played with Tiger Woods. He's never been on the back home stretch with Tiger Woods. But I will go on a limb and say I got Rahm this week. I got Jon Rahm winning the Masters. I don't know if you guys want to make a pick.
I don't have anybody because I'm just not the biggest golf guy. So I'm just going to defer to Adam on this one.
You can pick anybody.
Just so you know, Tiger is even through 4 holes.
So he's out there.
I'm taking Tiger Woods.
I believe he's wearing pink. Nice look.
Oh, okay.
I think
Salmon.
I think it was Xander Schauffele you're thinking of. Xander Schauffele, I think, that year.
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think that's what I'm thinking of. I could be wrong when it comes to golf.
Yeah.
But we'll get it before. Who was Tiger Woods? Someone in our comments. Who was Tiger Woods playing with? Who put the ball in the water on 16?
Yeah. Actually, Olin, I do have a question for you because I think it was Max Kellerman who said that Tiger Woods, isn't an athlete or something like that? It's like he's not a great athlete.
Well, look.
Go ahead,
real quick. There's 2 people in the media that said some foolish things yesterday about people being athletic, okay? And one was Max Kellerman. He said that Tiger Woods is not an athlete.
I know where he's going.
And then the other one was me, okay? Because I said that basically I said only left tackles can play basketball, which was actually the opposite of the point I was trying to get across, which is that don't sleep on offensive linemen playing basketball. But it somehow came out completely wrong, like centers are not athletic.
You know who had amazing low post game? Because we used to now, before everybody got into this whole keep everybody healthy and off the basketball courts, at the Walter Payton Center, we used to run games. Ooh. And it would be position versus position.
Did they have a gym in there?
Well, they just would have a basketball court in there.
Yeah,
they would just put it out. And it wasn't like a full court. It was just, you could run games. And watching someone like Marcus Robinson, we had a few other guys, Marty Booker, watching them hoop was anyway.
Yeah.
James Big Cat Williams in the low post. And then, so our basketball team, our offensive line, we won, but some of that was there was no referees. Big Cat in the post, Patrick Manley shooting threes. So we did pretty good. But like you're saying, Adam, a lot of these football players, like, have you ever seen Brian Urlacher play basketball?
I have not. I'd love to.
Oh, man. Just athletic. Just unbelievable. I tell you who else is good. And I want to say this because a lot of people see his videos. Anthony Adams. Spice can play basketball now. I mean,
he secretly can.
Yes.
That one video.
He's secretly extremely athletic, and that's why he can do all that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that I can tell because some of the way he bends in some of those videos he posts, I'm how do you do that?
Yeah, exactly. Right. So like he's playing a lot, but a lot of that is because he's so athletic. You know what I mean? But as far as your question on what Kellerman said, if he meant if we're talking about athlete in the sense of running, jumping, benching, I know what he's saying. But golf is a sport. Tiger Woods is the best ever. Tiger Woods may be the most mentally strong athlete besides Tom Brady that we've watched, over years and years and compete to come back what he's come back from. Car crashes and his wife chasing him with a golf club and all these things that he's done and then win the Masters, as Adam was just talking about. It just depends on exactly what Kellerman's talking about.
Well, he said that I've never seen Tiger run.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that's his point. Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, I've never seen Michael Phelps run, right? But he's an incredible athlete. Like, come on. So no,
it just depends on what you think an athlete actually like. how you're using the term, right?
You said he checks off a lot of boxes, like that mental focus, the torque that he has, but does he check off, like you said, the running, those kind of those different areas? But
he's not gonna, the Tiger's not going to be a basketball player. He's not going to be a football player. He's not going to be he's not going to. I don't know.
Some of those other skills he's not going to use, right? Yeah. So
I mean, in today's world, like athlete is like a profession. It's something you are. It's what Pat Fitzgerald once said to me. He said, "You're athletic. You're not an athlete. Don't claim to be an athlete."
Well, I mean, Pat Fitzgerald doesn't write the book on what an athlete definition is, but I know what you're saying. It just depends on what Kellerman's trying to say there, right? And if your definition is if you're playing a sport for a living, you are an athlete, then yeah, Tiger Woods would be a good athlete.
Is this CHGO golf?
Yeah, I was gonna jump in and let you guys know that the chat's a little.
It's that time of the year.
Tiger talk, but yeah,
relax, guys. It's that time of the year.
We're talking about Olin.
Oh, they're asking where the tape measure's at. It's over there on the side table, so we'll get to that eventually.
I'm waiting.
Adam's 6 feet. Just everybody's letting go.
I 100% guarantee it's more than that. I think the question is it 6'2" or 6'3"? And I know everybody
Adam's
cannot wait to see.
6'1".
So we'll have to.
At the most.
We'll get to it.
See, I just got an extra inch out of you there.
That's what she said.
All right. People want the Bears talk. We will deliver here. So we were going to talk a little bit about wide receivers today. Everybody wants a wide receiver. I think Justin Fields wants a wide receiver, probably. I would think so. So does Ryan Poles have to take a wide receiver in the second round, in your guys' opinion?
So I wanted to bring this up because some of the wide receivers that signed these big contracts, made these trades, you look at like a guy like Stephon Diggs who just signed his big contract, 5th-round pick. You look at Tyreek Hill, also a 5th-round pick. You look at Darnell Mooney, a 5th-round pick.
Yeah.
So I know everybody. The Bears need to get a wide receiver, and you would like to see it maybe the first time they get on the clock, right? But is it absolutely necessary that Ryan Poles, this Bears organization, needs to take a wide receiver with that first 39 overall pick when they get to the draft? So that's why I wanted to present this topic, because there are wide receivers that you can find in the later rounds, but it's just such a position of need for the Bears at this moment.
Yeah, and I think Tyreek Hill, and I'd have to go back and look, but I think he had issues coming out, and that's why he dropped in the draft, right? So if there's someone out there like that and you're waiting on him, but as far as Chicago Bears, do they have to take a wide receiver in the second round with those 2 picks? If he's a top guy on the board, right, Adam? If he's a top guy on Ryan Poles' board, because, gosh, man, they need everything. They could make an argument for a D tackle, for a defensive end, for a linebacker, for a cornerback, for a safety, for a wide receiver. You go through all the positions, and they can make an argument for those. So I guess in the spirit of your question, my answer is no. They don't have to take a wide receiver in the second round. That would be my answer there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I probably would agree with you that they don't have to. I mean, as long as you end up getting a solid wide receiver. I would make the argument you have to draft a wide receiver somewhere in the draft.
You can't go like the Packers.
Would you say in those first 3 picks?
Ideally.
2 2s and a 3, right? I'm not wrong about that.
Ideally, I think that's what you would like to see a wide receiver taken.
I've been covering the draft long enough to know that like it's just no guarantee that wherever you draft them,
they're going to be good.
To your point, like you could get one in the 5th round, you can get one in the 2nd round, you could draft one 7th overall, and he could be a complete bust, which we've seen too. Right. Like so, to me, it's less about where exactly the player is drafted, and just that the Bears get one that works out. And like I know that's easy to say, but like I don't care if he's undrafted.
It's simple, but you're so correct, right? Yeah. And then you have to get into when we talk about that, he needs to work out. You have to get into development, right? Yeah. In your building. Why haven't like a good question for Ryan Poles is, have you studied why wide receivers don't work out in Chicago? And you could point to the quarterback. You could point to the quarterback, but you are not doing your job unless you looked at the whole development of a certain position that hasn't worked out for so many years in one spot.
I can already see it, though, you guys. Like, if the Bears on, day 2 of the draft, second and third round, don't come away with a wide receiver, people are going to be losing their mind. Like, I can already see it. Like, Bears Twitter is going to be losing. Like, what are you doing? Especially if they draft defense within those first 2 picks in the second round. Like, I can already foresee it. But if that's, again, what's best on their board, like, they look at these players and that's what aligns, then you have to, if people are trusting what Ryan Poles is doing right now, being really patient, and then you see it kind of reflect that in the draft by drafting not a wide receiver, then I wonder how people kind of react to that.
I don't mean to go away from this wideouts question, but I read something in Kevin Fishbane's article, and I want to ask you guys about it. Kevin Fishbane writes for The Athletic. Make sure I don't miss anything, Adam.
Yep.
And joins Adam, the Jans and Hoge and Jans podcast, one of the best podcasts.
He was on our
there.
show yesterday. Here.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
So really good podcast, and obviously Fishbane knows his stuff. But in his article, and I think he wrote this, and I hope I'm not wrong, Ryan Poe said, "I never get rattled." And I thought to myself, you've never been a general manager. You know what I mean? Like,
Couple months in.
You got to be in a lot of positions before you can get rattled. You got to be under pressure. You got to be on. He's going to be on the clock, right? It's the first time he's on the clock. And I just think to myself, man, I'm going to get in that comment just made me laugh. But I wonder if when he comes up, like, for everything that he presented to the Bears from what we heard, from who he is, from what he says is important, if he's just going to go offensive line there. And his first pick, the pick that's going to be his identity, I just have a hard time thinking he doesn't go offensive line with that pick.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I probably would. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, me personally, you know what I mean? Like, think about it. Like, you're on the clock, Adam. It's wide receiver or offensive lineman. They're ranked the same. Who do you take?
If they're equal on the board, is it a tackle?
Yeah. Let's make him a tackle.
Yeah, I think I'd go with the tackle.
Tackle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'd go with the tackle.
Yeah. Nicholas?
I've said before, we kind of had a similar question. Would you take that offensive line, that wide receiver, if they're both, similarly graded? I went offensive lineman before. I'm going to stick to that. I think you just need to build that up right.
Right.
Because this is not just a year 2022 that you need to be good. It's for the longevity, right? And I think if you have that offensive line established, that goes a long way in trying to build that up.
Yeah.
But also, like, right now, we've talked about how they pretty much have Jenkins and Borum penciled in at those tackle. And then who?
Well, I was thinking when you guys are talking about wide receiver, if they line up in 3 wides right now,
Okay.
Yeah.
it's Mooney, is it Pringle, and is it Daz Newsome? Can they line up? Can they line up in 4 wides right now? Right.
Equanimous St. Brown.
Yeah. Equanimous St. Brown. Yes, I forgot about them signing him. So when you line this offense up right now, we've talked a lot about how a really good wide receiver with a lot of speed, nothing helps pass protection and run game more. Mm-hmm. Right? Because he's so dangerous that you got to take a safety out of the box. It takes a lot of blitzes away that they're going to run. But Ryan Poles, when he gets on the clock, and the fact that a lot of the guys they wanted in free agency, Ogunjobi, Brian Allen, they wanted those 2 guys. They didn't get them. They weren't willing to pay too much for Brian Allen. Again, not overpaying for players, trying to build it the right way. They could take your choice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Take your spot there. Take who they want. I would tell, if Ryan Poles is asking for my opinion, which we all know at Halosol, they don't do without a grain of salt. If they were asking for my opinion, I would say you stick to your board. It's one of the drafts that you can.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
that's
you know.
true.
Well, and to your point here, so you just asked, like, who would be the 4th wide receiver? It's probably Daz Newsome. There's only 2 other wide receivers beyond that aren't even on the roster. Isaiah Coulter and Simba Webster. Okay? Both guys were just, like, guys that were brought in sort of on the fly last year by a different regime. Tackle, okay, but besides Larry Borum and Tevin Jenkins, you have Lachavious Simmons. We've seen that. Tyrone Wheatley Jr. That's it. Like, so there's no depth. I saw something, and I wish I remember where I saw this, but I think some coach or somebody was saying, like, in today's NFL, you need to be 6 deep at defensive back. Like, you need to have 6 defensive backs that you can count on, whether it's corner or safety.
And this scheme needs a nickel back, Adam. Right. It needs it bad. Now, do we know I was looking at a little bit at Tyrone Wheatley Jr. Do you know, like, his story? He was I want to say a tight end or a defensive end, and then he played. I don't even know what the team was. He in Canada last year, and they brought him in
Morgan State,
right? And then I saw that he played somewhere last year, and he's 6'6", 295.
Yeah.
Now I know that his dad is obviously Tyrone Wheatley Sr., but is it the Tyrone Wheatley that played in the NFL?
I mean, I remember Tyrone Wheatley.
Yeah.
I know. I think
right?
it is.
Is it?
I think it is.
Also, that makes me feel old.
I know how you feel. But like you're saying, like the plan at the tackle spot, with as much has been talked about fixing the offensive line, and the offensive line was a problem, and that's what Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham do well. We're all waiting, and everybody wants to be patient, and Poles is correct. Like, you want to build this the right way. He is correct to point to the history of how the Chicago Bears have been doing developing teams, and how they only have 4 wins in 30 years, right? 1993 or 1994, Dave Wansitt team beats the Minnesota Vikings. 2 wins in 2006, and then a win in 2010. That's all. So he is right. Like, do you want to build this for sustained success, and you want to build this the right way, and you want to study your history, and you want to know why you haven't won? But with all that being said, they signed Lucas Patrick, who was a backup center last year for Green Bay and played because Myers, their starting center, got hurt. When you turn the film on, you don't come away saying, man, they got themselves a Pro Bowl center.
Yeah.
So here's the story on Tyrone Wheatley Jr. Okay.
Ready for this.
He went to Michigan, where his dad played. I mean, that is who his dad is.
Okay, cool.
The former Michigan running back, first-round draft pick. So he went to Michigan originally as a tight end, ended up transferring out, finished at Stony Brook. Okay. Last year, he played in what was called the Spring League.
That's what I saw, yes.
Yep. And that was where he converted from tight end to offensive tackle. And in like a classic Ryan Pace move.
Oh, so this is a Ryan Pace sign.
No, this is last year. So after that, the Bears signed him, brought him to camp as a tackle. He was waived during final cuts, but then was kept around all year on the practice squad, and then was signed to a reserve future contract. But that was before Ryan Poles
walked in the door
because, and I still don't know who was actually the one making those signings. Because, like, they signed a bunch of players onto the roster after the season ended.
Yeah, that's
right.
true. Yeah.
You know,
right. Well, there is a lot of Poles kept a lot of the scouts, didn't he? He kept a lot of the scouts on staff, and you know, like we see with the curious case of whoever, I don't know his name now, but whoever they hired to do contracts. Well, Cliff Stein's doing the contracts because in a typical Bears move, they hired a guy to do contracts that doesn't know how to do contracts. But they don't want to give me $15 an hour to coach offensive linemen. But I mean, all I asked for is $15.02.
That was it?
That's it.
That's the story?
2 more cents.
So when George said there was more to the story, that was it?
That was it, the 2 cents. Hey, I got my 2 cents to put in on this story.
That's awesome.
Oh, man.
Matt Feinstein.
Feinstein.
Oh, yeah, he came up.
Case.
Yeah, well, he handled, like,
The curious case of Matt Feinstein.
labor law and stuff for the NFL, but
Right.
he's never actually done contracts.
Right,
so
well, that's why you hire him to do contracts.
they like him. They think he's a prospect coming through the system, right? He's on the practice squad right now, learning under Cliff Stein.
I
Also a
gotta
Michigan
get someone to pay me for a job.
Yeah.
And then I'll just walk in and say, I don't really know how to do it, though. So if you can do it for me for like 2 or 3 years, and then
hire
I'll
me.
do the job.
Hey, the best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app. Use code CHGO when you sign up, and if you do that right now, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. That's not it, because if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. So that's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, a free T-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. And if you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com. We will help you out. Your home for live in-play betting just got even better. Introducing PointsBet's new feature, the live NBA same-game parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. Watch live, parlay live, boost live, all with PointsBet. And now online sign-up is available in Illinois. Download the PointsBet app right now. Register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. What are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
All right, I have a question for everybody in the chat who will listen to this on their drive. Everybody in here, really. Do you want to start your day with a competitive edge? How about you, Olin?
I wake up with an edge.
Ooh. All right, so maybe this is not for you, but that's okay, because Strava CBD coffee is a game
That's what I wake up with.
Oh, so
funny you mention it.
There we go. And it's helped thousands of people to improve their overall wellness and quality of life. Strava delivers delicious, fresh roast specialty coffee infused with organic broad-spectrum CBD. CBD from hemp doesn't make you high or hungry, but it does offer real benefits that can help you. You feel alert and focused without the jitters, live your day more balanced with less anxiety and fewer aches and pains. Plus, including CBD in your daily routine can help you enjoy more restful sleep so you wake up feeling at your best. The best part about this, Strava is all about quality. Everything is small batch, fresh, and shipped straight to your door. Strava also concentrates full spectrum CBD tinctures for those looking for a more traditional CBD format with a powerful entourage effects of benefits. CHGO listeners can save 25% off their entire purchase when they use code CHGO25. That's 25% off your entire order at StravaCraftCoffee.com when you use code CHGO25 at checkout. Discount coupon valid on non-subscription purchases only, one use per customer. And already love Strava? Subscribe and save with the Strava Coffee Club. With Strava, you are in control. Save on your favorite coffees and have them automatically delivered to your home or office on your preferred schedule.
Yeah, fair question right there on the chat on YouTube right now. I thought Olin was doing a read today. I'm going to pull Dan Patrick here and call out Nick. I mean, I think Olin should be doing the reads because Nick just did that read in the completely wrong break.
No.
Hey, man.
Yeah. Check the traffic log.
Oh, look at that.
Check what day it is.
Okay, Lawrence, you can attest. I thought today was Wednesday.
Listen, I'm an independent
That's not an
contractor.
excuse.
And look, well, if you're looking at Wednesday, well.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm just here.
So we'll have you go the next break.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
I know.
Let's
I
not
have
fight.
fired Nick from doing reads.
All right.
I
give it all to Olin now.
Shout out
Mondays
to
and Thursdays.
Andrew on Twitter said my height has been canceled. Everything is getting canceled. My height got canceled.
I just got canceled from ad reads.
You got canceled from ad reads. Olin doesn't get canceled.
Well, I'm shocked I'm still here, to be honest. I'm shocked.
Although you kind of got canceled by the Bears.
Bears, yes.
Yeah,
that's
so-
true.
Yeah,
Well, it's too late for them. With the money they paid me, they can't cancel me. That's why I got the alumni.
You wear it
The
proud.
GSH.
Wear it proud.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I got to put Lawrence on the spot here, too.
Oh.
Can you – everyone wants to know what you look like and why the camera never – there it is. And I wanted to ask you because you're wearing an Orioles hat today.
Yeah.
Yesterday you had a Padres hat on.
Yeah, I did. Hi.
Your hat game is strong.
Well, these are
But
these
how
hats
much
are from
space
the
in your
80s.
closet do the hats take up?
These hats are literally like hats I wore on Little League teams in the 80s. Like, this is old and mesh and doesn't
It's
really
so
fit very
clean.
well. Well, yeah, because it's been in a box in my closet. Like, they are all just stacked together in this one box. I've got Blue Jays, A's, Astros.
It looks
the
good,
Padres.
man.
Yes. Oh, thank
It
you.
looks
yeah.
good.
I mean, you
You're
can't
killing
you
that
can't
hat.
do any better than the cartoon bird.
Is that it a 1963?
This is like 80s, right?
80s?
Like
That's a great logo.
the best logo.
It
It's
really
beautiful.
is.
And it matches your beautiful orange hoodie.
It does.
And yes, hello to the chat. I'm sorry, I just have a lot going on with you guys.
Know if
Chat a
I'd want
lot,
my
so I'm
hoodie
trying
be
to do
called
other
beautiful.
things.
That's all right.
Wonder if Will's wearing the same one right now.
Yeah, he probably is. Like I
So,
was.
you guys play basketball in high school? I hear a lot of talk about basketball around here.
Not on the team, but recreationally almost every day after football season was over.
So, since I don't know why my height has become such a discussion this week, but I wasn't even close to my current height until senior year.
So the answer
I
is
was
no.
I was like this tall, and then all of a
Oh,
sudden
you
I
were
was-
taller than that.
Yeah, because if I was that tall, I'd be
That would-
shorter
You were
than my
taller than that.
7-year-old right now.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting called out in
So,
the chat for being Aaron
so
Rodgers.
all this basketball,
Yep.
all this basketball talk, we don't have any real basketball players.
No,
No.
not by your definition of.
Well, we have a lot of
you have
definition
to play in
of
high school
You
to
call
be
a
a-
golfer an athlete.
Oh,
Right?
you played, right?
Oh, I wrestled and did shot put and disc plus football
Okay, wait.
in
So
high school.
does anybody in that tweet actually have basketball?
Yeah, so maybe
experience?
Adam Jans. Does Jans
Does
have
Johns
basketball?
have actual like playing high school?
I don't know if
he's a
he
football
he played
player.
football. I don't know.
Wait, now
Baseball was
Wait,
my
now
high
you
school
you described like you said in your definition. So to call someone a basketball player, you have to play basketball. That would be everybody's definition. Right, in your definition, I didn't play. Well,
So if
you
I
didn't-
play 3
listen,
days
if
a
you
week
didn't play
in my
any
20s,
sports,
I'm not a
no,
basketball player?
at the rec in North Chicago.
So
get
if
out of
I
here.
run a marathon, am I a
no,
runner?
if you're playing like Lake Bluff or Libertyville, no,
If I-
you're not a basketball player. Sorry.
if I run 10 miles a day down the
If
lakefront,
you
am
go
I a
down,
runner?
if you go out, dude, go out in the city. If you go down in the city,
Yeah.
and you play in the city,
oh,
okay, then I'll consider it. But if
Okay.
you're playing against a bunch of white guys in Libertyville, no,
All
you're
right.
not a basketball.
Well, what about
player.
growing up at Oz Park
But then
playing
I'm just
on
trying to
on-
figure out what
on those
sport
courts?
I can tell you you're an actual player now, right? What did you play in high school?
Baseball.
Okay, you're a baseball player.
Yeah, okay.
What
I
about
played,
like a Glenbard West? Bunch of white guys.
Yeah, well, Glenn Bar West, yeah, the 6'11" guy.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
They're
so
really good.
so all I'm saying to you guys is that is everyone's definition of actually playing the sport. You actually played the sport. That makes sense to me.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
canceled by Olin.
did you actually play the sport or not?
And I just got canceled by Olin.
No. Hoge and Nicholas would never get cast by me. We're having a very productive conversation.
All right.
You said you did a 360 dunk on a 5. Wait, what? Your height is in the topic because you said you did a 360 dunk on. Oh.
Yeah, I definitely did not say that, but it sounds like
I could see that though.
that's where this has gone this week. So maybe. Yeah.
This is
Well, that's where we are, really.
It's
We don't
got
have a lot of
completely off the
subjects
rails.
left. Right? We're not-
Right.
Yeah,
we're
we
waiting
do
for
need
the draft.
We do have one though. We do have one, and that is the Atlanta Bears.
Oh
Gotcha.
yeah, the Atlanta Bears.
The Atlanta Bears. I don't know if you've heard of the new expansion team
Falcons.
down there. They've replaced the Falcons. This is incredible. And we brought up Fishbane earlier. This is all Kevin Fishbane because he, it's not like this was tough research, but he did do it and he tweeted it out yesterday. And I have to be honest, I knew that there were a lot of Bears players down there with the Falcons. I did not realize it was this many. This is insane. So, I mean, you can see
Hard
it
to
if you're
fit 'em all
watching
on
on
the full
YouTube.
screen.
For those listening to the pod, list of Bears players that have now joined Ryan Pace and company down there in Atlanta, and Phil Emery, quite frankly. Jermaine Ifedi, Demir Bird, Willie Beavers, who I forgot was a Bear, Rashad Coward, Mike Davis, Cordell Patterson, Tease Tabor, James Vaughters, Elijah Wilkinson, Damian Williams. And then, of course, you have a bunch of coaches that were from the...
That's 10 players, by the way, before counting.
10 players. So that's a fifth of, basically a fifth of what you might have on the 53-man roster. Not that all those guys will probably make the 53.
Yeah, go ahead and list the coaches.
Well, Dave Ragone, Charles London, Michael Petrie, Ted Monachino, John Hoke, all coaches that have been with the Bears in recent years. And, yeah,
That is interesting.
Isn't that crazy?
So Terry Fontenot is their general manager, and he came from New Orleans, right? He was there for 18 years, so obviously he knows Ryan Pace well. Those almost seem like I'd have to see the list again, but they almost seem like camp bodies, don't they? They almost seem. And besides Cordero Patterson, who obviously is, I thought Elijah Wilkinson was pretty good when he went in. I think he's a pretty good depth piece.
The problem is they
James-
couldn't count on him because he kept He ended up on the COVID list like
COVID
4
list.
times.
Well, I mean, and we don't have COVID this year, right? So we do, but hopefully it's better.
Not in the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the NFL.
The NFL got rid
James
of it.
Vaughters, outside linebacker.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Preseason hero.
Demir Bird, Mark Grody's guy. Mark Grody loved Demir Bird.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Oh, loved
Like
him.
some Bird.
Now, Demir Bird, wasn't he who caught the Texas route out of the backfield? What game was that?
He had
Seattle
the big play against the Packers.
Packers, yes.
And the 2-point conversion against the Seahawks.
I mean,
that game winner.
I mean, those are probably all league minimum contracts, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Mike
besides
Davis?
maybe Patterson would be the only one.
Mike Davis?
But
No.
But let's look at a couple of these guys. Like
Cordell Patterson, you're
yeah,
right.
That's
You're right.
the only one.
So you would bring
Olin,
if you're
come on, you've
if-
seen enough of Rashad Coward.
Yeah, I'm not a big Rashad Coward guy, to be honest.
Like, well,
He
who
started for the
is?
Bears. He's been in the NFL for a long time. You know what I mean? So
The
there are
guy
a
in the
few
graphic.
people
Well,
who do like him.
he was a defense. Well, he is a Ryan Pace guy because Pace, he was a defensive lineman who he converted to offensive line. They thought they had something there, and
Now,
You saw the film, too.
wasn't the story that Vic Fangio recommended they move him over to offensive line?
I believe
Yeah.
it.
Isn't that the story?
That sounds familiar.
But
Wait,
I don't know.
shouldn't that be a red
Like,
flag?
that
I don't want this guy on my defense anymore. Can you take him?
he I knew the O-line coach that it was obviously I know Harry pretty well. Liked him too. Obviously had a lot of development to do, but that is interesting that they're all down there. Now Dave Ragone, Charles London, they went down there the year before Ryan Pace
Yeah.
got there, right?
Yeah, they've been there for a year.
And then-
Give them a lot of credit for how they use Cordell Patterson.
Is it Dean Pease, the defense coordinator?
I think he might be. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, because Ted Monachino coached with him in Baltimore, I think, with Pagano, right? John Hoke, very good defensive back coach under Lovey, I think. He had Mel Tucker here, and maybe John Fox's couple of years. But that is interesting.
It's remarkable that it's that many.
What would be really interesting is if those guys have any success down there.
Well, like Patterson has. And I was, mid-season last year, there was all this talk about, the Bears need Kyle Fuller back or they need Charles Leno back. And I'm like, how about the fact that Cordell Patterson, they could not find a role on him on offense other than, the toss sweep on 4th and 1 out of the shotgun. And he had how many touchdowns? Like, I picked him up in fantasy football last year. I never would have thought in a million years that he would become a really good fantasy football player. Like, Dave Ragone, give him credit for cracking a code that Matt Nagy could not with that guy.
Let's not give Ragone too much credit. Arthur Smith is calling the plays down there, isn't he? Isn't the head coach calling the plays?
Sure, but
but didn't they use him in 2019? I remember the Denver game. They ran like a toss crack with there's another guy. Leno and Cordero Patterson. Leno pulls out. The Bears didn't want Leno, and now the Redskins re-sign him. It just is interesting to watch when guys move on and to see them, because I've heard offensive linemen for the Bears tell me that, look, as much as it was hard to say judge Justin Fields, to say judge, I heard you guys talking about making great points about Cole Kmet the other day in that scheme. They felt the same way. They felt like their margin for error was so small in the scheme that Coach Nagy was running that they wanted to move on and go another place and play somewhere else and get us a chance to play in a different scheme with different players to see, because in Chicago, everybody just kept saying, you guys are terrible, you guys are terrible, you guys are region are terrible, you're terrible, you're terrible. I remember going on Twitter after, right there, Jeremy Forrest says, Leno was a joke in Chicago, he needed real coaching. I remember going on Twitter and saying, Leno is not a bad football player. He's not top 5 left tackles in the league, but for what they were paying him, he was actually doing his job.
I agree.
Okay, man, did people were emotional about the Leno situation.
They were.
Yeah, so it's just kind of interesting when these guys move on to watch them develop in other places. to watch them in a new scheme, to watch them out of Hallis Hall and how we'll watch Ryan Pace, we'll watch the Falcons, we'll see how they use these guys.
By the way, Leno did develop in Chicago. He was a seventh-round pick,
Right.
Who basically had a redshirt year. Jermon Bushrod was the tackle, took him under his wing. I'll never forget talking to Jermon Bushrod about that because he was kind of getting banged up, realized that Leno was coming, and it was a very real moment. I remember in the locker room with him talking about this kind of we all know that this happens in our careers, and here's the young guy, and I'm out right now. He's going to go in, and Leno never gave it up.
No.
He started 79 games.
Yeah.
He was and that's another thing, Olin, I know you know this. Just the ability to be out there and start that many games in a row counts for something.
Yeah, availability, man. Availability and being out there and playing and getting better and being durable, and people can count on you, like you're saying, Adam, week to week. But and like you're saying, there was the rare guy, Nicholas, that they developed, right? There was the rare, to go through. You want to have some fun today, okay? Pull up, put in Google Bears draft picks, and go through Pro Football Reference of the Bears draft picks, and find yourself all the left tackles. The last early pick that was successful, I think they took Jimbo in 1983.
Yep.
Right, and you're talking about Stan Thomas, Mark Colombo, Chris Williams, Karimi. You're talking about a long list, and that's why we've had to go free agency so many times.
Yeah, and I'd argue not a lot of swings either.
No,
because you just named 5 guys. That's over 30 plus years though.
You start to get a little gun shy, right? You start to get a few, Mark Colombo had that really bad. I remember I had my appendix taken out, and I didn't play in the game. I think it was 2000 in St. Louis on a Monday night game. And Colombo got rolled up on. And I was in the locker room because I wasn't playing. And his kneecap was down in his side of his. I just remember thinking that's going to be tough, man. That's going to be hard to come back from.
Yeah.
And it's sure, but he came back, had a good career with the Cowboys, and then almost beat up Joe Judge as the offensive line coach in the Giants. That's a whole. We'll get Colombo on one time and talk to him about that.
What's he doing now?
I don't know. I don't. He went from coaching the Cowboys to being the O-line coach for the Giants, and now out of the league. So I don't know. Maybe he's replaying Joe Judge's speech after the Bears game over and over again to see what that's all about. Everybody trying to figure that out.
That was
something, man.
I was in the wrong press conference that day.
Well, just listening to the reporters in the press box, they're like, "What the hell is this? We're going to be here for hours trying to decipher what he actually said." So I was like,
I think that actually got him fired.
Honestly,
if there was any doubt that he just couldn't survive that one. And then Gabe Karimi's injury happened against the Saints. You would have been playing for the Saints in that game.
Yeah, I did, and we won that game. But anyway, that was. And then there's a video though out there, and I gotta find it, and I'll post it online. I have it, I'm sure. It was at the end of the game. We're trying to ice the game out, and I pull on a play, and Lance and Urlacher. They blew me up.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was like they beelined me. Like they knew, they know the play. End of the game, you're just writing the clock out. Yeah. And they knew, I don't know if they knew I was pulling, and they were literally laughing while my head was hitting the turf while they were going over me, But I've been run over a lot in my career, obviously. You get run over by Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher. It's not the worst thing in the world, but man, did I get blown up.
Is that clip out there?
Oh, it's got. If it's not, I'll find it.
That's awesome.
I'll find it. I'll find that clip.
That's a hilarious story.
People are still waiting for the one practice clip that you had mentioned.
Oh, the Mike Wells. That's one I wouldn't have access to. The Bears would have to get you 9-on-7 tape from practice in 1998, and I'm sure they have it.
What happened? What was the play that?
Oh no, I just had to reach him on outside zone. We talked about hat speed earlier.
Okay, yeah.
Going over our our
offensive line making the case
prospects,
preview.
and
Yep.
I had to get my hat across on Mike Wells. And Mike Wells, 2 weeks earlier, I was watching him in the Bears weight room. He was doing like a 560-pound bench. So in college, I used to jump turn guys, and if you don't know what a jump turn is, we'll talk about it another day. But I used to jump turn guys and just kind of like turn them away from the outside zone. So I went to jump turn Mike Wells. And Mike Wells caught me in a jump turn. But the best part of the story is Tony Wise, the O-line coach who drafted me. I was on the ground about 5 yards deep in the backfield, and he ran up and he stood over me and he goes, "That's the block you were drafted for." And I was like, I don't know if I can make that block. Those are some long, dark days, man, when you first hit the NFL. It's something.
Yeah. In a jump turn, are you actually leaving your feet to do that?
Yes. So you jump turn.
So that's you make yourself
yeah, for sure. Yes. Yeah.
Yikes. I can see how that could happen then.
Oh, yeah.
All right, this is your moment to shine, though. This is what you were drafted for.
Okay.
The CHGO membership. Technically, it's a read, but I think you can do it off the top of your head here.
Off the top of my
Just
why don't you guys show me?
Why
don't you
is
guys,
CHGO so
Why don't you
great?
guys close? Why don't you guys close your computers?
Yeah.
And then do a read off the top of your head. Go
Okay,
ahead.
CHGO. We got these shows every single day. This one's actually easy. It's actually just bullet points. It's not even really a read.
Right.
But make sure you're checking out our shows.
Well, when you studied in college for this, I didn't. This is just I'm winging this. You know what I mean?
All right, so I might.
So
not,
you would say like that's what I'm saying. Like you're a journalist.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
It's
Not a
probably
basketball player.
probably more important that I'm
Not a football
than
player.
a basketball player.
Yeah, I think it's way more important.
since 36 years old with no playing experience, still trying to make the NBA, that'd be a problem.
Listen,
right?
I was thinking about like our basketball tournament, just kind of running it through my head if it ever happened. I was like, who walks out on crutches, right? Like like who blows something out?
Well, the truth is, part of the reason why I stopped playing is
Yeah.
because I should have torn every ligament in my knee a few years ago.
Did you land on somebody?
It was one of those like non-contact,
Like
which made it
absorbing,
even-
like Odell Beckham Jr. almost.
So it was like I was out by the 3-point line. Someone else on the opposite side shot a 3, and I had a clear line to get the rebound, gather, go right back up for the layup. Got the rebound, came down to gather. My leg just went Everyone in the gym thought I tore every ligament in my knee. And amazingly, you know what it was? It was the Andy Dalton knee bruise.
Oh, okay.
Bone bruise in my knee. That's all it was.
How long did you lie on the ground?
Oh, they took me out in a wheelchair.
Adam,
Yeah.
come on, man.
I was like Paul Pierce, man.
gotta
I had
get
to go
up.
to the bathroom.
Solid reference.
No, I walked. You like that reference? I walked down to the
Come back and win the game in lifetime. To the paddle court guys clapping for you coming back in. Oh man.
No, yeah, they are right there. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So anyway, CHGO memberships. Make sure you're getting them all. CHGO.com. If you were there yesterday, we had the Discord chat.
Oh yeah.
I got to get Olin in the Discord someday. We were talking about
We
that.
were saying the gift game would be strong in some of the response that
You could just respond to every single one with a GIF.
With a
Yeah.
GIF.
It'd
Yeah.
be pretty easy. And you can get that at allchgo.com with the memberships. Get that free T-shirt. And again, we have shows every single day for every team. Baseball starting up. Cubs. What's the Cubs playing today, Lawrence? I should probably know this already.
What's that?
What are the Cubs guys doing?
They're at 12:30 pregame, and then they'll be doing a full hour post game after the game.
So we get our first Cubs post game today. Looking forward to that. So
Do we get a Cubs versus White Sox podcast basketball game?
Can I play in that one too?
Who knows? That's
All the best.
Maybe we should do our podcast versus podcast basketball game.
We need to get one more then. We have
I-
Will.
See how I just
think
made.
the
See how
only-
I just made us a team.
Yeah.
3-on-3. I seen a tournament the other day. They made
3-on-3.
$50,000 for winning a 3-on-3 tournament. Did you see this?
That's nice.
That's a nice.
Did you see
little
this
payday.
on ESPN?
Yeah, the 3-on-3.
Yeah.
We should enter that. No, we would not win that one at all. I would take us in the CHGO 3-on-3 league. Although I'd be a little bit worried about the Bulls guys.
Yeah. No, they got game.
I don't know if they do.
I mean, Peck's angry most of the time.
Yeah,
Pat is-
he would worry me. He would definitely be most likely to get a technical foul, which
I should
would
say
usually
this,
say
actually.
Olin,
That's
but
not fair to Peck.
Oh, no,
He's
no.
not always
I
angry.
I have very few technical personal fouls in my career.
what, would you have more if you played today though?
Probably.
with the taunting calls. It's ridiculous.
Most likely.
All right. To close out the show today, though, I there was one thing I wanted to bring up stadium-wise because our mayor, Lori Lightfoot, was on the Score this morning. And, look, I went back and listened to it, and she had to say what she had to say, which is basically she still believes that Chicago can be competitive against Arlington Heights in a new stadium, and she said essentially that we can offer the Bears more than anything a suburban site could. And I'm just always like, how can you offer them something that the Bears would own, operate, get the revenue from? I don't know how they could do that in the city of Chicago. But Olin, what I wanted to ask you as a player, how much would you care about not playing in Soldier Field?
For a guy who's played at Soldier Field, drove down to the stadium, that whole atmosphere down there, you guys been down there to watch games. Even if you haven't played, you know the feeling when you walk in a Soldier Field on a Monday night. I got to walk in many nights, obviously, but, for example, even though we lost a game, NFC Championship, Green Bay Packers, City of Chicago, walk in there for the NFC Championship game. For someone who experienced it, it would suck to go to Arlington Heights and drive up. Because when you drive down the city skyline, and people will argue the number one city in the nation. The people will argue that. So for a guy who's been a part of a lot of those games, a lot of those drives, a lot of those nights, a lot of that atmosphere, right? Bears on the buildings, right? Orange, everything in orange and blue, and just all of that stuff. But the young players, they wouldn't really even know. But if you're asking me personally, it would suck.
Yeah, well,
it would suck if I played my first 7 years, and then my next 7 I have to go to Arlington Heights, and it's the business opportunity, it's what they're going to build there. Like you're saying, they own everything. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And you went on to play in the Superdome, which has its own home field.
Unbelievable.
Because of how loud it is. I mean, having covered a game there, it's loud. But what's the biggest difference from going a place like Soldier Field where the outdoor elements matter to then going into a dome?
Well, it's just like when you when you talk to people in the NFL circles and you ask them with all the careers that have been ruined at Hallis Hall, why are you going to coach for the Chicago Bears? You know how hard it is to win there. Why are you doing this? The history, man. That's what the answer you always get. Yeah. It's where it started. George Hallis started the NFL there. You know what I mean? And then they start reeling off the names. Gale Sayers, Dick Butkus, Walter Payton, Jimbo Culver. The history behind this team. Now, if you're just talking about outdoors and Soldier Field and the grass and how cold, it's one of the hardest places to play in the NFL, right? But that's what makes it so great to play there all the time. I remember tackling a Seattle Seahawk in a 2006 NFC divisional game, hitting my head on the turf, and they call it a stinger now, but my neck was, that's how the thing is, solid ice, at that time of the year. So, but the history driving into the city of Chicago, that's would be different.
So, see, what's interesting about that is I think there's a world in which you can embrace the Bears' history and understand that at what point are you caught in your history to the point that you can't advance out of it? Because we're now, 30-plus years removed from 35 years removed from the Super Bowl.
That's not true. From winning the Super Bowl.
From winning the Super Bowl. I apologize. You're right. But
as usual,
even not to start dating you, Olin, we're getting close to 20 years.
People can see it's live. You don't have to date me. People can see how old I am. We're not on. Hey, this isn't theater of the mind. We're not on radio. People can see.
We're over 15 years since your Super Bowl appearance.
I tell you, when I wake up in the morning, it feels like longer than that. but you're right. And it's going to move the Bears forward. And we know that more than anything, Ted Phillips is a businessman. More than number one thing he is. Because he doesn't win a lot of football games when he's in charge. The number one thing Ted does is he's a very good businessman.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see where this goes. I will have to say that I think, well, there's going to have to be some resolution to this, probably some point this year, because if you're going to get to the point where they actually close on the land, which is the discussion, and will it happen by the end of 2022 or early 2023, like they need to start having discussions about, okay, Lori Lightfoot, this magical plan that you have.
I just saw, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
I just saw, Adam, isn't there a proposal to build a casino
Yes.
in the city?
Yes. That's coming.
So I wonder, well,
Money.
here we go.
Olin for president.
Here we go.
But you got to understand that
I
it's,
think they need like middle school Mr. President.
There you go.
I think that's what they mean.
middle school president. Team president?
Team
U.S. president?
Yeah. Well, hey, man. The last two, you never know.
Yeah.
The last two. Everybody's got a shot.
All right, fun show today. Really,
I don't know what we accomplished, but it
I
was
don't know
fun.
what we accomplished either. Well, I think
An hour has
we
passed.
actually accomplished a lot here.
We did.
My height got canceled. My basketball career got canceled.
So why, it's not a career.
I got canceled for looking like Aaron Rodgers.
No more ad reads from
You
me.
do? Yeah, we put
My
that on
ad reads
Twitter.
got canceled. I got canceled, right?
Everybody.
Adam called me old. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I own this podcast. Just kidding, everyone.
he's doing his Aaron Rodgers impersonation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Careful,
also-
Olin didn't like that.
I'm immunized as well, just so you know.
Did anybody like that? You know
Uh,
what I mean? Like, does anybody like?
I-
Even if it's true, if
Yeah.
someone walks up to your face and says, "I effing own you,"
Well, that's what I didn't like. I didn't like that the Bears just kind of accepted it. That's what I
they
hated.
accepted it. I
Thank
don't think they. Yeah. That.
thank you. So like, I know, and you just let it go because when it blows up, it's good for everybody. But I was on Mullion Hall, and they asked me if you were on the field, and Aaron Rodgers would have done that, how would you have felt? Context is everything. I said, I would have felt like punching him in the face. Yeah. And of course, it came out. Only wants to punch Aaron, which is sometimes is true. I mean, who doesn't want to punch
Didn't Aaron
a guy who has
address that directly to him?
160 million? Yeah, on the punter who wears tank tops podcast. That's it.
Great name for the podcast, by the way.
Man, a punter who wears tank tops.
I like Pat
yeah.
McAfee, but that'd be a great name. The punter who. Hey, careful now. He won WrestleMania last week, I think.
Hey,
did.
I didn't get to watch it. Did you? Anybody see WrestleMania?
I didn't watch it, but I saw
Saw
what
the
he did. I
highlights,
was actually
yeah.
pretty impressed.
Did that backflip.
Yeah.
He also got stunnered by Stone Cold, but
Oh,
that's,
did he?
that's
They
way
didn't.
too
They
much
didn't put
wrestling
that.
talk.
They didn't put that
highlight.
on the punter wears tank tops Twitter account. I didn't see that one.
Hey, let's end this the way we started. Tiger Woods is 1 under through 7.
Let's
I
go.
come on, man.
Let's go, Tiger. See,
That's unbelievable.
you just got to respect the guy.
Athlete.
He's not perfect.
Go to
human
Points
being.
Bet and bet on Tiger.
I might go do that right
yeah.
now.
Yes, sir.
Hey, does that count as an
CHGO.
ad read? Is that an ad read?
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
We got it in. See, you don't need paper in front
No,
of
I
you.
want to read
Who
it
needs
though.
this? Close the computer. We're done. We're out of here. Follow us on Twitter at Adam Hoge, at Nicholas Moreano, at Olin_Kreutz. Nick will be back tomorrow with Will to close out the week. And
With his motorcycle jacket again. He'll be back.
It's a
that's
nice,
a nice
jacket.
jacket.
What is that? They had a few good motorcycle shows. Well, I'm sorry.
When you
It's
do-
that time of the year for the Bears.
You ride?
I do not.
Okay.
Well, no. Mm-mm.
You play T-ball, though, everybody. Talk to you guys tomorrow.
I think ball's tough sport, man.